Hello, welcome to the last round of Path to Power for Power. So this deck is, of course, a deck built around basically the Ferocious mechanic. We have upgraded all the way up with a bunch of rares in it, and I think this deck hopefully could put up some solid results. I'm kind of excited about it. If you like this channel's content, which is where they're going to be covering a lot of budget-friendly options for Arena, especially with the brand new Pioneer Masters. Hopefully Explorer gets a lot more users and everything, and I want to be able to give you guys decks that you start out from what you get to upgrading it to a legit strategy, and also decks that, like Lord's Burn last week, starts like a weekly episode of that as well, where we do a deck tech, where we just feature a uncommon basically build deck that I think could be do quite well in the Pioneer metagame. So let's get into this next deck, which is featuring some of my favorite cards of all time, and one of them which is Goreclaw. So if you like this kind of content, make sure you smash that like button, subscribe, hit that notification in order for future views. And we're on our way to 1,000 subs. Let's get there together. Come on, let's sub so we can get this channel up and going, get this tournament series up. And if you're interested in participating in tournaments, check down in the Patreon link below. That is where you get to have all the links to tell you about how to sign up for all the tournaments. And it's pretty, I think, competitive pricing for everything. And then we'll start getting more and more tournaments as more and more users get involved. So let's get into it. So our deck list, we have our 2 copies of Goreclaw, 2 copies of Ashroot, Animist, 4 Spinner of Souls, 4 Trailblazers, which I think is really good in this deck, Mikolos, 4 Bonecrusher Giants, 4 and 4 on Elves, Kiora. We have a Team Merge Battle Rage still. We have our Hunter's Talent because it still has that last mode where we draw cards if we have a creature power 4 or greater. We have a Burst Lightning because it's just a phenomenal removal spell. Our mana base looks pretty dang good. Much better. We shouldn't have any issues as much as we did last week, or actually the week before that. I think last week we did quite well with the mostly upgraded uncommons and common version. Sideboard, though, we do pick up some Ghost Vacuums for a little bit of graveyard hate, some Pick Your Poisons for a little bit of artifact and enchantment hate, Red Cat Melee to deal with the red decks, which are everywhere, Red Prowess, Volley to deal with the spirits, and also, matchups like Angels, Selesnya Coco. Back to Nature to deal with all the Overlords, 2 Damping Spheres to deal with Lotus Field, and especially since it is coming to Arena, it's pretty nice to be able to prepare for it. We have a couple Mage Bane Lizards, which is pretty good against Phoenix. Also, alright against Lotus Field. A Clothis for a little bit of more graveyard heat for Phoenix and Fang. And we have a Ningatha because it's free. That is our deck. Let's see if this deck has what it takes to compete on the ladder. A mountain for the opponent. Let's play a tap land, say go. So, now that... Oop. Boom. Sorry about that. Okay. Say go. Is it mana base? Cool. Stomp the face. Play a Trailblazer plotted. Go. So, like, Trailblazer is a huge upgrade for this deck, right? I mean, it really fits the theme of the deck. We're trying to play creatures with power 4 or more. Makes us turn through our deck. Make us. Oh, also, I forgot about Kiora. Very similar card. I should probably have that in the uncommon version. It's just insane. We're just going to go ahead and plot again. Say go. This looks like it might be creativity. Based off of how this is going. They're playing a little bit more of a control style. Because normally Phoenix would have cast a bunch of spells by at this point. Okay. Still no lands, though. Question is, do I want to play these Trailblazers now? I could play Kiora. That gives me 1 additional plus 3. This should bait something. Okay. Untap. Play a Trailblazer. Draw 2. Yeah, definitely creativity. Play another Trailblazer. Another one? I mean, I get you got spot removal, but come on. I could do this, which means I don't do anything else. Play spinner. Tap land. Go. So far, this deck is pretty fun. Creativity. This looks like it's going to be the worm. Yeah, and we just lose. Sure. Go spinner to souls. And we lose. Cool. Weirdly enough, we don't have much for this matchup. Maybe a Clothis over a Goreclaw. I could do pick your poisons. Maybe if I squint, maybe it's worth it. But that's about it. I don't like that. Pathway on green. Oh. Yep. The issue with this hand has been, I don't know if we're going to get to this Animist. You have a third one removal spell. Of course you do. But we got something next turn. We could do a Trailblazer into an Animist. Block. Go. So these Trailblazers, like I said, are absolutely essential. Even if you upgrade this for standard, right? You still would want to get access to these. Full playset. I didn't realize that you actually start with one right out of the gate. I should have put it in the original deck from scratch. But go ahead and block. Say go. So next turn I get to play Trailblazer, Animist, plus an Elf. So that seems like a pretty reasonable turn. If he does anything else, that actually turns on my lands. So now we get to play Trailblazer. You get any counters? Nope. Looks like you got a removal spell for it, though. There goes my Trailblazer. Put one to the bottom. Cool. Green. Trailblazer. Alright, so now we get to start committing to the board. Next turn is the turn we're actually going to start going for mega damage. And we say go. Now, he's still stuck on 2 lands, so this looks like this might be a decent steal for us. Considering the fact that he's behind. Now, I'm definitely going to be pumping the Landwehr Elf here because of the fact that if I pump this one, he's most likely going to just use a removal spell on it. He's less likely to remove a Elf. Now, actually, that's not a bad top deck, right? So here I want to play the Spinner because it actually makes him want to use the removal spell right now. So I'm less likely to get blown out in combat. Because now he let that resolve, which means I get another creature. So now we're going to go to combat. Shove in there. Pump the Elf. Like I said, we want to increase the damage elsewhere. See, now he's less likely to actually kill our Trailblazer, which is our more important threat. I mean, of course, he still could have just a normal 1 damage burn spell to answer the Trailblazer. But now we're going to go ahead and just get this Animist going and just shove in there for a chunk load and say go. Now, he doesn't really have the mana for the creativity, so this turn might be just tapping out for a Fable, which leaves him dead, and he scoops it. So, again, we don't got much for this matchup. You could argue that I should bring the Burst Lightnings in on the... I could see that over Hunter's Tout on the draw. I don't like that. The opponent's on the draw this time. Shocks himself and passes. We play a tap land, they go. Now, what the key thing is to know the difference about being on the draw and on the play. You want to be a little bit more mana efficient on the draw. Go. Which is why we cut the 2-drop enchantment for a 1-drop. Because we are actually technically behind. Naturally, because of the fact that we are on the draw. And also, I mean, technically the fight spell isn't really all that relevant in this matchup. Make this appear. Short. Now, this is actually a pivotable turn. He only has 1 mana up. So this is when we actually want to get this Clothis down. Because it's very hard for him to answer. So he can do incremental damage across the board. And I don't think he really can answer it. Unless he has a bounce spell. Wow. Sure. Not expecting that. So just play the land and passes. Again, we have primarily green mana, so we want to play that on green. Attempt to recast the Clothis. And play an Elf. Say go. You have another bounce spell? Are you just going to keep bouncing, tempo-ing just enough to get your thing online? Torch. That's fine. So next turn we have 3 mana. If we do this, we have 2. If we draw an untapped land, we can do that. Actually, we can do it, right? We can do it. We still do it. Nope, no lands. So we're going to go ahead and eat the Make Disappear. Deal 2. If I play this, that gives me net 2, 1. We plot, they go. Again, the opponent is not doing much. So I'm assuming eventually he's going to end up casting a spell that gets him 2 treasure. Whenever he draws it, of course. But okay, not a bad turn, not a bad draw. I guess we get to play that. Play the Outcaster. Add green. Looks like he has a removal spell. Play another Trailblazer. So here comes the removal. And play a spinner. Do you have another removal? Draw a card. And an elf. Go. So we're 2 away from this. Next turn, we still can't get there, actually. Brotherhood Inn cleans up my board. Get some creatures. And that's why you play the spinner. So now we have 5 mana. We can only cast 2 spells. Actually, we can cast both of these, draw 1 card. Seems pretty reasonable. Assuming Kiora resolves. Looks like he has another bounce effect. Keep looking at my Colossus. Which... okay, we just draw a land. That's actually kind of huge. Because the Animus is much faster clock. We play the Animus. They go. Draw a card. Next turn we have our Colossus online. Assuming we're not dead. Scoops it up. Got there. I think that means we're 1-0. Let's get into the next. Tap land. Now we play Shock. Cast an Elvish Mystic. So we have not played Goreclaw yet. That's kind of sweet. Demir. Claw. Go. Now, it's very important when we start doing Trailblazers and Kioras, we plot as much as we can before we actually start the comboing, right? So, get Bresky for 1. Go. Now, next turn is the turn we can start doing a bunch of stuff. Phyrexian Arena, he taps out, which is a very interesting line. So we drop down to Kiora. Now we get to start vomiting these, drawing a bunch of cards. Similar to how Mono Green Devotion plays, but we're a little bit different. Untap a land. Play a Goreclaw. Because it's super based. And we drop down a 4/3. And just like that, we drew a lot of cards, but get rid of those, I suppose. So, now the opponent has to interact with us, because we are basically pushing a decent amount of damage across. Plus, we have this Teamer Battle Rage, which is super freaking awesome. Murder Rider the Goreclaw. Very rude, but cool. Got a bunch of threats. And I like about the spinner is it gets us more threats that we can actually cast. But get frisky. So counting this up, we have 8. Pretty sure that's lethal. If it's not, we have Stomp. Now, so keep in mind these decks, if you pick them up, and we're working toward hopefully you're prepared the fact that these are for Explorer, they're not for Standard. So against a black-based strategy, we have Clothis. About it. Probably go down Megalos. Probably not really relevant. I don't really need to answer a Phyrexian Arena. And again, Hunter's Talent's probably not that great either. So I guess we keep it because it's technically a beast stick. Yeah, run it like that, I guess. Okay, Forest. Elf. Goop. Again, so we're going to plot, right, on 3 or on 2. Considering the fact that he did not kill my elf with a Fatal Push. So that means this Goreclaw should do some work. Assuming we get to play it and do extra stuff in the same turn. Now, we got to play Gorge. So if I play this, then that's me 1 at 5. This is 4. Net minus is 2. I could play a Bone Crusher following it, so we'll go for that line. Play Goreclaw. dang thing. Alright, go. Yeah, auto tapper will hurt you. So be prepared. Now we get to play a two mana 4/4. Get frisky. Go. Now, if you want to see more competitive content like this side, the link to my channel is in the description. If you want to see more content from me in particular, this channel will be eventually be migrating multiple content creators. That is the plan. And yeah, so that's the goal. Is we want to get as many content creators involved in this one channel. It's a great way to promote new content creators and all that jazz. Actually, I don't even need this, right? I just attack. I think I might be getting him. You have a fatal push. All right, that's for 15 with trample. Sure. Stack that thing. Still got a 14. It doesn't stop my attacks. That's 2-0. Let's get into the next. So again, this is a nice little curve out. The hands you kind of want to see with this deck is mainly an elf turn 1 into a decent turn 2 or 3 drop. We do play a decent amount of 3 drops, so keep that in mind. We're going to go ahead and drop down our elf. Pray they don't have a fatal push. So if they're playing our fairy deck, by all means, they probably have a fatal push. Sure, Sundering Falls. So that probably... Okay, Inti. So that probably tells me they are in Soul. Yeah, so we play Kiora. Untap the elf. Get frisky for once. They go. And that leaves us a very good chance next turn. We can actually drop down a Goreclaw and vomit 2 spinners the following turn, plus leave up a Burst Lightning, which is pretty freaking amazing. A FOMO for the opponent. Now, if we draw a land, we might be even better off, of course. Spell Pierce. So we go ahead and tap, untap, Goreclaw, go. Opponent might have to read that card. He does. Goreclaw doesn't see a lot of play, but man, is he insane in the stack. He's the ultimate bear. So you can't really attack. We draw the land. That's not too bad, right? We get to drop down a spinner, draw a card, drop down another spinner, draw a card, and that is a Battle Teamer Rage. So we get frisky for 5. Not bad. If he does double block, we just Burst Lightning one of them. So I'm not really upset about this attack. Okay, it takes 5. And we say, I think we say go. So what's really good about this deck is like it actually has a decent amount of just game in general. Like I was not anticipating this deck actually flew in like this. It feels like all these cards belong together. And they do a great job working well together, especially Goreclaw. That special Goreclaw that no one ever thought this card would be very good. But turns out a 4 mana 4/3 that just makes everything in your deck cost 1 mana. It's pretty insane. It's basically the Nykthos of the deck. So I'm actually kind of excited. Now, I'm going to try my best to make sure I explain as much logic as I can. Alright, so there's nothing to do this turn. Because you want to save the Burst Lightning for a blowout potential. Alright, so this hand is semi-red, so we'll put this on red, I suppose. We'll get frisky. Since all these are 4 power threats. Drowner. You tap down my Goreclaw. Now, that does not stop me from these becoming 5/4s. Oh, they do. Okay. Yeah, how do you block? Okay. Interesting. Go ahead and give it double strike. You're at 4. Now I could untap 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm 1 mana short from dealing 4 to the face. So we'll just go ahead and play another elf. Protect us from the back attack and say go. Now, I'm becoming less and less sold that this is actually Oh, this is a Kiora deck. Wait a minute. This is like my, is it Delirium deck? Scoops it up. So in this matchup, Graveyard Hate matters a little bit. So I think Clothis is kind of nice for that because it's twofold. In this case, we does play a decent amount of creatures, right? So like fighting is still relevant. Volley can get the Kiora, but doesn't get his actual other better threats. So that's not in the equation. Red Cat Melee gets this. We could also get his Kiora, but sack a land in the process. We also got to remember we have a Jingatha. Wait a minute, has it not been active? Is that why I have not actually seen it? When I mean active, over here, usually when you have a companion, it shows up over here. Migalo's probably caught. Run it like that. Yeah, no Jingalba. Play a lair, say go. A pathway. Go. You will attempt to stomp the face. Sure. Spell Pierce is a reasonable thing. So now we drop down Clothis because he's tapped out with blue. So always want to play around counter spells with this card because once this card sticks, normally it just takes over the game. And it's very hard to answer because it's indestructible. So you definitely need to plot it correctly on the board. So it happened to be a very good time for us to actually get that to go off. So here we play, I think, Land of War. We're trying to get to this Gorklaw. I don't know why it didn't tap my lair, but, you know, that's okay. Pass the turn. I'm assuming this is going to get a removal spell. Torch. Called it. Which is fine. So, on hits instep, we'll try to Bone Crusher Giant Stomp. Actually, we'll just stomp that. And that deals with one of his better threats. So now we get to possibly play Goreclaw. Oh, wow. A tree. I don't know what he's doing with it, but I'm not going to leave it on the board. Now, weirdly enough, Kiora doesn't do anything. It does, I guess, set up the opportunity to play Goreclaw next turn. He might be playing right into a Spell Pierce. Yeah. But I think it's worth the actual effort because we could draw a decent amount of cards to get our land drops. NT. I am curious about what he's doing. Like, is he playing Smuggler's Copter? So he puts a token on it, roll token. He does not attack. Eat the Spell Pierce, I guess. Play a Kiora. Ship the turn. So next turn, maybe we get this Goreclaw, and the turn after, we get ramp into a bunch of spells. Because ramping into a Bone Crusher Giant plus a Hunter's Talent in one turn is kind of where we want to be. Now he's most likely probably going to attack the Kiora. Because it's the most life-threatening card on the board. Why doesn't he even attack with the Scoundrel? So this must be a pseudo combo deck, right? He's probably trying to find the artifact. Cauldron. Eat the tree. So we go ahead and tap. Untap. Goreclaw. Draw a card. Land, go. So that actually was not a bad turn. We got our fourth land. Tasmai's red down. So you could definitely attack the Kiora and take it out. Which is a reasonable line here. So that means my turn is going to be filled with Bone Crusher Giant plus Hunter's Talent fighting what? The NT most likely. That's the most problematic threat. Kiora dealt with, so no more card draw. Get rid of the Arcanus to stop him from being able to draw 3 cards. Go ahead and play a Bone Crusher. Now, it's important not to get rid of this Thrill Seeker until after till before our next turn, right? Because we want to exile this immediately. Essentially, the combo is with Thrill Seeker plus a tree. So we definitely want to make sure we don't leave this card in his graveyard that long. So we try to go for the NT. And I think we just pass the turn, leave up some Burst Lightnings, just to be safe. Another Drowner. Taps down my Giant. Okay. Turns on the Den. So that is a card we will get rid of. A little bit of land destruction never hurts. And he doesn't get to make the 1/1. And he should be sacking it. No, I guess he can't with Thrill Seeker, but he did do it correctly. You're supposed to tap the mana, the land for mana, just in case. So that's a pretty strong card to find. We'll take the Kiora. Scoops it up. Got there. 3-0. Bonus round. Pumping Grounds tapped. Go. So the bonus round, we're facing a black base deck with a Thought Seize. Which Bone Crusher do you want to take? So we display land, say go. Stomp him on his insta. Mutable. Waste Not. Okay. So this is a upper tier meta deck, upper tier 2. It's definitely fallen on the wayside, but you still have to respect it. Now, this is what the companion looks like on Arena. So it's this little thing right here. You can pay 3 and put it into your hand. Now, do I want to give him 2 cards? Or do I want to give him a card and 2 mana? That is the question. Probably definitely Burst Lightning. Probably the land. So he gets 2 mana back. He might have another discard spell, but if he does, we are definitely take a little bit of a hit there, but you have to just hope he doesn't have another. And he does. We get immediately punished. So we definitely want to pick up Jags until we have at least 3 mana. Preferably 4. I guess here we kind of want to pick it up. Because we kind of want to keep the Goreclaw. Say go. Because that is one of the cards that we could actually maybe cast a bunch of spells if we can get anything that draws cards. So if he has a Go Blink, we kind of get wrecked. Of course you have a Go Blink. Sure. You have an answer to the Giant. I guess 2 2/2s count. So, pretty devastating. Okay, that's not so bad. So now we get to attack. We double blocks. We stomp 1. Okay. That's not terrible. I think I just want to go ahead and do that. I don't really want to play it on the board. Fatal pushes it to fizzle my Bone Crusher. Okay. Pretty okay line there, I suppose. Turns on the Mutable. Gets risky. You have a land in the Annex, which is why I would think you would want to do this move. No. You have a Megalos, which answers a Waste Not. So you're at 12. So we'll get you down to 8 potentially here. Now you could Field of Ruin, a land, and then push. That is a possibility to enable Revolt. Edicts me. I'm going to have to do the MIGs because I got to finish him off. Hit you for 4. I don't think I could afford to take this turn off. Even though Megalos is really good. Plays a land. Does not turn on the Vault. So we draw a land. That's semi-useful. Looks like he's going to be chumping with a Vault. Okay. Opponent is thinking pretty hard on this one. So, question is he field? He probably should just draw off the Castle Lock lane. No, he scries. That's another legit option for him. So he likes his next card. We get rid of the Volt. Say go. Now the question is it removal? Probably. Could be a Liliana, would be his best top deck, right? Invoke Despair. That's also just as reasonable. So we're going to go ahead and plot here. Say go. The reason why you plot here is because he's most likely going to have a removal spell for this. We kind of want to play this when we can get multiple cards off of it. Before that point, it seems very unlikely. Like I said, he would have just most likely removed it right now. So now he's leveling this up. He might level up another time. No, because he has removal. Okay, land. I'm going to just say go. I don't need to play it. And I kind of want to get him to actually use his discard spells. Right? Because he is most likely going to use the Thoughtseize and whatnot here. Attack a Numa. No creatures, though. I wonder how many creatures this deck is actually playing. It's probably playing the Initiator. Go blank. Sure. Adds mana, does mana pool. He could Field of Ruin and then cast a Lockwayne, which wouldn't be a bad turn, but he said he pays into the Bandit's talent. Say go. So he might have a discard spell here. If he does, we'll just go ahead and Burst Lightning. What's your last card? So we take 2. Say go. So he stops drawing cards off of the Bandit's talent. He's going to desperately dig. Go to 6. He does get to draw another card. No, he doesn't. Hopeless Nightmare. Alright, so we discard the Mutavault. Oh, yeah, we take 2 from the Nightmare. I was like, I don't remember anything else. Yeah, so draw the card, goes to 4. If we draw an untapped land, we dodge now. Yeah, we dodge. Because he's probably just going to level up Bandit's talent. We have Pick Your Poison and that as well. And Close This. All reasonable cards. First, Team Your Battle Rage is okay. It's not a lot of creatures, so it's probably not as efficient. Hunter's Talent, the card draw is nice. I don't think it's worth it, though. I don't like that. Play Gorge. Go. Probably lead off with Thoughtseize if I had to guess here. Tiny Bones joins up. We will get rid of a Pathway for sure. Shock myself. Go. Hive. Waste Not. Stomp that face. For green again. Plot. Go. So, especially in this matchup, you want to be plotting because you want to get as much cards as you can off this, and you want to make it where the Thoughtseizes and stuff doesn't get your best cards. Bandit's Talent. I can't really do 2 modes there. I really hate getting rid of the Megalos, but the other card is just significantly better. Especially since I can go boom, boom, boom. Draw 3 or 4. Go. So I play this, plus this, draw 1. Play this, net 2. So yeah, draw 3. So he has a Field of Ruin. Now the question is, can we beat him game 2? I hope he can, because this deck feels pretty decent and fun overall. Like I said, I like most of what's going on in this deck. The synergies are here, like, and it's nice to see Trailblazer see some play in a deck that's not Mono Green Devotion. Now, what's just nice about this deck is, yeah, this card and the elves make you go to Mono Green Devotion if you want to. If you want to pivot off this later, you can. All right, we definitely thin our deck. That's nice. That's good stuff. So yeah, that's like one of the big bonuses. Plus Kiora, right? Kiora is another card that also sees play in Mono Green Devotion. So like it's nice that we're just playing cards naturally that you kind of want to play in a upper tier 2 deck. So it's not like a lot of these cards are going to just go to waste. I mean, Gorkall might. That card is exclusively for here. There goes my Kiora. Sure. But Back to Nature, great sideboard card in the current Pioneer meta. So we'll get a little bit going on here. Play a Bone Crusher Giant. And drop down a Gorge. Say go. So that was a nice turn. We're going to tell our... Oh, it was too late to say thank you. Opponent, if you're watching this, thanks. Attempt to block with a Bone Crusher. You might have some sort of sweeper. I mean, why else would you do that? Double cover up. Not extra. So we go and play. Go. So at this point, we're just trying to gun for Jengatha plus cast it in the same turn. You don't think you want to pick it up before that point, assuming he has a lot of discard. Now here, we're probably just going to burst Lightning face if he does anything too out of this world. Annex. Burst your face. So now you're at 12. We're at 12. Yep. That's pretty rough. Another Bandit's Talent. Sure. Another 4 to the face. Now, you can't turn on Hive and attack. Actually, he can. He should. There's no reason to pan to this. Yeah, the smartest move here is to turn on Hive, attack. Pretty reasonable turn. Okay, we are at 9. And now then we're at 7. Because of this one talent. So we are at 7, they're at 6. We draw a Goreclaw, which is so based. Pass the turn. What do you got to say about a Goreclaw? What's great about Goreclaw here is it makes this cheaper. So essentially we could pick this up and play it immediately. Do you get frisky? Does. So we go down to 4 plus 2. Actually, wait a minute. He should have us dead here. So we go to 4, then he leveled that one up and gets there. Yeah, he goes to 4. Yeah. 3 and 1. Let's get into the wrap up. So overall, the deck feels pretty good. I like the deck. Actually, this is one of the decks that I had no idea could be a legit thing. And thanks to Wizards of the Coast and Arena developing the deck for Path to Power, made me want to actually do this as a theme. So overall, I'm actually happy with it. I am curious to what you guys think about this list. I think this list is more suited for a legit strategy. Honestly, when I'm doing an Explorer tournament, I might register this thing. Because I kind of like it. I think it's fun. Like, it has a decent amount of mid-range package with Bone Crusher Giant, Trailblazer. It's a really grind. We have Spinner of Souls to also grind. Honestly, if you really wanted to just go over the top, you probably could just cut the Ashroot Ananist and then the Hunter's Talent and just play 4 Cocos instead. Like, there is a possibility in a world here where you could honestly Coco with this. I don't know, 25, you would have to increase the creature count. But that is definitely a possibility. Like, you could cut both of these and the Temur Battle Rage, increase your 3 drops, and you might have a legit deck. So I am curious what you guys think about this list. Like, is this deck just worse than Boats? I really like the list, and it really showcased what Goreclaw could do as an actual physical card. Sadly, though, for Commander, he's only 1 green, so he's not green-red, which typically with an aggressive strategy like this, you kind of want to be 2 colors, but I do really like that. I like the list. Hunter's Talent might be the weakest card in the deck. each for the main board, and then I would say Temur Battle Rage is second. The creature package actually feels really solid. Bone Crusher Giant, time and time again, has always been a Pioneer staple. So, within reason, right? There's points in time where the two damage is not enough to kill something, but most of the time it's a pretty reasonable threat, especially when it's a 1 red for a 4/3, which just makes it even better. Trailblazer, insane, and Spinner of Souls is insane in this deck. If you have any suggestions for more 4-power threats, let me know in the comment section. Maybe I missed something, but and I'm assuming Ashroot is the card I would be cutting, but it's not a bad card. I would think that's probably the weakest of the creatures in the deck. But until next time, hopefully you guys have a great rest of your day. Remember, next week, make sure you sub before you head out the door, because next week we'll be covering the Inspector deck, as well as the Dragon, the blue-red deck, and Draconic, and then we also will be playing something. Sorry about that. We'll also be playing. What was it? Oh, Deserts. So that deck is going to be going through the iterations as well. I think that deck is going to have the most might have the most uncommon builds up. Just because there's a lot of uncommons you could add. The deserts, all the lands for the most part are not rare. So that's definitely a huge component. But those are the next 3 targets. Later this week is the Dynamite. So stick around and watch that as well. And like I said, next week, if you have any suggestions at all for potential all uncommon decks that could be legit for Arena, let me know in the comment section as well. Because I am looking especially towards Allied Colored. Because of the fact that we do have access to the Snarl lands on Arena, which are uncommons. And that's a huge deal when it comes to actually making mana bases at the 2nd tier for the deck. So, until next time, hopefully you have a great rest of your day. And I'll talk to you guys soon.